Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Everybody Eats. My name is Abby, and today we're going to be reviewing the newest video game adaptation, Ruben Fleischer's Uncharted. Though there is a certain comfort watching a film like Uncharted based on the beloved video game franchise I grew up with, there's also this sense of reality I just can't shake off. This is not a good movie. If this adaptation was released when I was a child, it may have been one of the films I carried with me on family road trips to watch on a portable DVD player as my parents drive 7 hours south on the 5. It may have been a film I had memorized front to back. Pure bliss in not thinking about the writing, direction, or any technical merits, or lack thereof. I can see this being one of those movies for a lot of people out there, and that's endearing in itself. But since those family road trips, I've spoiled my brain rotten with enough film theory that, in fact, I find myself questioning not enjoying a film like this in the first place. It's obviously not trying to be a great work of art, crafted as purely another palatable adventure story attempting to garner an audience beyond the video game franchise. Though it may be far from the worst video adaptation yet, that's not saying much given how low the bar is at this point. I don't dislike adaptations that diverge from the source material, but this is a film that doesn't understand the core of the franchise in the first place. Replacing humorously witty banter with cookie-cutter blockbuster quips to fill a joke quota isn't as deceptively charming as it was in 2012. And at the end of the day, this is a film that feels lazy in every sense of the word, opting for a relatively weaker storyline than the games and one that even fails to ignite the spark of adventure we've seen so many times before. At the end of the day, Uncharted just feels so unintentionally small. Even with bombastic set pieces, it's not enough to give audiences that globe-trotting sense of adventure. The film instead chooses to focus on monotonous dialogue between characters cramped in uninteresting places. Where Nathan Drake in the video games explores the lost city in Shambhala, here we see our heroes break the walls of a Little Caesars. With 6 video games in this franchise, it seems it would be simple enough to translate the magic on screen, especially when the games are so narratively driven in the first place. Holland and Wahlberg actually do a competent job at their roles, but they're not written as the characters we've come to love and know for so long. And the casting itself just feels like another Hollywood producer attempted to milk yet another video game franchise with no semblance of what made it click in the first place. It's nothing you haven't seen before, and as messy as those older Resident Evil movies were, I'd rather take something like that tastes so much more risk than something so generic and palatable as this new Uncharted movie. Casting Sophia Taylor-Ali as Chloe Fraser, though, is a fantastic choice, and I would rather take a Lost Legacy spinoff than a sequel to this movie any day of the week. And though there is one absolutely bonkers action sequence that plays off the Uncharted 3 plane sequence, that moment comes and goes way too soon, and the film just immediately returns to mediocrity. If Uncharted went off the rails and actually took some narrative risks, or even doubled down on its goofiness, I would have definitely enjoyed it more. Instead, Ruben Fleischer is back in directing the blandest blockbusters Hollywood has to offer. And I don't think Andy Serkis is coming back this time around to dig this franchise out of the dirt. And for a film that's been in development hell for about a decade, ranging from directors that should have been either Seth Rogen or Dan Trachtenberg, we end up getting one of the most boring directors working in Hollywood right now. And that's just a shame when this is one of the most exciting video game franchises of all time. And honestly, maybe we could have gotten something way worse than this, maybe something messier. But for some reason, I think I'd rather watch that film. At least I wouldn't have been bored. Anyways, for all those reasons, I'm gonna have to give Uncharted a 1.5 out of 5 stars. It's just not a pleasurable movie to watch, and whenever there is a bombastic action sequence, it just comes and goes, and the film returns back into boring dialogue and boring interactions between boring characters. So yeah, when we could have gotten a much more exciting and inspired video game adaptation, Uncharted just comes along and proves that Hollywood producers still don't understand their audiences. Maybe by the time The Last of Us show rolls around, and with the freedom of TV nowadays, we're actually gonna get an adaptation that lives up to the Naughty Dog name, but this is not the one. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Abby. This was Everybody Eats. We just launched our channel and we have so much more cool stuff on the way, so stay tuned.